Bhagat Singh. When you hear that name, an image probably pops into your head, right? The fearless young revolutionary, a martyr who gave his life for India's freedom. He's one of the most revered figures in the nation's history, a true symbol of sacrifice.
So yeah, we all know this face. His story, his incredible sacrifice. It's the stuff of legend. But here's the thing. There's a huge part of his story that for a very long time remained completely in the shadows. We know how he died, at the incredibly young age of 23. But do we really know how he thought? What was actually going on inside his head during those final days, sitting in a jail cell, waiting for his execution?
Well, the key to answering that question is something pretty amazing, a personal notebook he kept while he was in jail. You see, from 1929 until his death in 1931, while everyone saw a prisoner, Bhagat Singh was actually on an intense intellectual journey, and he wrote it all down. Now, this is what's absolutely wild. This notebook, this priceless document filled with his personal notes, his favorite quotes, and all his developing ideas, it wasn't available to the public for more than 6 decades after his death. 63 years.
Let's just trace that journey for a second. In 1931, after his execution, the notebook goes to his family. It stays with them until 1981, when a Russian scholar finally publishes the first serious study on it. And it isn't until 1994 that it finally gets a major publication for all of us to see. This wasn't just a diary. It was like a rediscovered treasure map to his mind.
And look at this. This is what makes it so powerful. This is his actual handwriting. Straight from the notebook, he's noting down that he got an autograph from his friend and fellow revolutionary B.K. Dutta just a few days before Dutta was moved out of that jail. This isn't just a historical fact. It's a direct, deeply personal link to the man himself in those moments. So what was actually in this notebook? Well, it reveals a mind that was absolutely on fire with curiosity. It shows that in his final years, Bhagat Singh wasn't just waiting for his fate. He was fighting a whole other kind of revolution, a revolution of ideas.
This quote really captures what he was doing. He truly believed in the power of books, not just to learn facts, but to make you think. His jail cell, that became his university. And the books he had to fight tooth and nail to get, that was his curriculum.
I mean, just get a load of this reading list. It's incredible. He wasn't just reading revolutionaries like Marx and Lenin. He was diving deep into philosophy with Rousseau, logic with Bertrand Russell, social criticism with Upton Sinclair, and even poetry with William Wordsworth. This guy was building a complete, complex worldview from the ground up.
And you can literally see his perspective getting bigger and bigger. He copied down this quote from an ancient Roman playwright. For him, this wasn't about a narrow, nationalistic fight anymore. He was developing this deep humanism, seeing India's struggle as just one part of a global fight for justice for all of humanity. He was copying down these powerful ideas about the kind of world he wanted to build. This note here on socialism, it shows he wasn't just thinking about kicking the British out. He was thinking about what comes next. A system that gets rid of oppression in all its forms, the obvious stuff and the hidden stuff too.
Okay, so here's the most important part of all this. This intense period of study in jail wasn't just some hobby to pass the time. It fundamentally transformed his entire ideology, his whole vision for what the Indian Revolution should be.
You can see this massive shift in his thinking right here. He started out with this idea of individual heroism. You know, the belief that one big dramatic act of sacrifice could wake everyone up and spark a revolution. But he moved to a much more mature vision. A revolution led not by a few heroes, but by the organized masses, by the workers and the peasants.
And that final vision, that has a name. It's called a proletarian revolution. It's a core Marxist idea, really. The belief that real, lasting change doesn't come from the top down. It comes when the working class itself takes power to build a new society.
And we know for a fact that this transformation was complete. In the document he wrote right before his death in 1931, he spelled it out. He argued that the only way to truly defeat imperialism was through this kind of mass-based socialist revolution, guided by a dedicated political party. The young man known for throwing a bomb had become a deeply committed political theorist.
So all of this brings us to a really big question. If this intellectual side of Bhagat Singh, the thinker, the scholar, the socialist, is so clear, why is it so often overlooked? Why do we usually just get the simple image of the martyr?
You know, maybe Bhagat Singh himself gave us a clue. He copied this quote into his notebook. It's from the will of a Spanish anarchist, and it says he doesn't want any demonstrations at his tomb. By writing this down, it feels like Bhagat Singh was saying he cared more about the ideas and the struggle continuing than about his own memory being worshipped. He didn't want a shrine, he wanted the work to go on.
So that's what we're left with. His final years show this powerful evolution in his own mind. It really reframes his whole story, and it makes us ask, what is the true legacy he wanted to leave behind? And really, is a revolutionary's greatest weapon a bomb? Or is it an idea that can change the world?